What's going on, and welcome into episode number 17 of Pels and Whistles right here on the Believe Network. Pels and Whistles is sponsored by Bet Online. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I'm Daniel Salerson alongside Rel Myers. If you're a Pelicans fan, probably didn't have the best weekend, probably not the best week, but the holidays are upon us, which means things should get better, right, Rel? I mean, just the way things went down on Saturday, you're in cruise control, 24-point lead, and Devin Booker decides to put a coal in your stocking and says, "You ain't getting another win from us." That's for sure.
Wow. That was something else. That was a sight to see, I think we got out to a slow start again and then we were rolling at one point and I think we turned into the old third quarter Pelicans again, but the series is split. At least we didn't lose the series between us. So,
Yeah. What did you learn from this road trip? Is it concerning right now where they are? Are you not concerned? I know there's some things obviously they need to clean up, and I know
yeah.
I don't want to say this team came down to earth a little bit, but they're riding high from that 7-game winning streak. I guess kind of where are you at right now as far as your confidence level in them heading into tonight's game against the Bucks?
Not so confident against the Bucks specifically, but just in general, I'm not hitting the panic button, but they definitely need to do something about all these shots they're missing at the rim. It's just a bunch of gimmies. They're just rolling right on out, and then the effort as far as boxing out and rebounding, it just hasn't been there. And I think they did use up a ton of energy on those Friday and Sunday matchups, beating the Suns, and now they're just kind of everything just kind of went kaput.
Yeah. No, I mean, looking up some stats from NBA.com, in the last 3 games for the Pelicans, they are 27th in the NBA in defensive rebounds. And so when
Mhm.
you talk about having a chance to, get some advantage on the boards, Pelicans have certainly been lacking in these last 3 games. Their opponent
Mhm.
tonight, fifth in the NBA in their last three in rebounding. That's defensive
Yeah.
rebounding, but rebounding, Milwaukee is a top 4 team in the last 3 games in rebounding as well. So this is going to be a big matchup for them. We'll get into it in a little bit, but man, you just felt like at least Saturday a chance to salvage the road trip after 2 disappointing losses to the Jazz. You're on your
Yep.
way, and then it just was probably the worst possible way to lose the last game of a road trip. It's just I
Uh,
don't even know how to explain what went down on Saturday in Phoenix.
it was a very, very like weird game. Just kind of looking at how things were trending in the first half. In the first quarter, I think JV had 10 points, like just in the first quarter, and he finished the game with 12 points. And CJ McCollum had 24 points in the first half, and he hit a three on like the first possession of the third quarter, and then he was never to be seen or heard from again for the rest of the night. So I just and Zion did his thing. I think Zion had kind of a slower first half because CJ was getting all the buckets, but then in the second half, he kind of came alive a little bit and he ended up with 30 points and I think 9 assists, but he might have had like 3 rebounds. Who's rebounding the ball? I think Larry Nance had about 6 rebounds. He had 0 field goal attempts, 2 free throws. He bricked those two. So no points in 22 minutes. We can't win like that, And they had no DeAndre Ayton, no campaign. We still lost.
Yeah. And Larry's going to be doubtful tonight, so you lose him against Milwaukee. You still don't have
God.
Brandon Ingram. I'm not sure if we need to donate a big toe to Brandon Ingram here. And we were just talking about this offline. It's such a tricky situation because when you look at just the name big toe contusion, you think a couple of games, you heal that big toe.
hmm
But I know the big toe, and again, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a doctor here. But I know the big toe is probably pretty important when it comes to balance and running up and down the court. And if that thing is hurting and rubbing up against a shoe and you're running up and down the court for 30, 35 minutes, yeah, that's probably going to be painful if it's not fully healed. And
For sure.
I know they said that there was a setback that he suffered before the road trip. So he was trying to get back, but
hmm
just 11 games for a big toe contusion. Again, this is not me calling out Brandon because I bet you it's extremely painful and I don't know what
Yeah.
it feels like,
Right.
but it just sucks not having him out there when you're still trying to see how him, Zion, and CJ work together. And you really
Yeah.
haven't been able to experience that a lot all season long.
I think we've had them for a third of the games, I guess, so far. Um, what was really interesting to me about that Phoenix game, um, yeah, Devin Booker had like 58 points, but with 6.5 minutes left in the game, he had 57 points. And we were winning by 2 at the time. So that effort from him, we could have held on. Like we could have won the game. And I think Phoenix had taken a 1 point lead on a Chris Paul 3-pointer with just over like 5 minutes left. And then from that point forward, it was just kind of, I don't want to say all downhill from there because it had been going downhill for a little while there. And in the 2 minute, maybe about a minute, 50 seconds, something like that, is when Larry had those 2 free throws that he missed. And we were down by 2 at the time. So like we were still very much in the game, but we just had no counterpoint. And if going to Zion and letting him drive is working, why are we going away from that? Why is Zion going away from that? Like he knows that it works. I think he might have missed like 2 field goals all night. But there was a time when he was getting ready to drive and he kicks it out to Herb, and Herb immediately shoots the 3. And we didn't need a 3 at that point, and Herb missed the 3. So that hurt. And so I don't know. I think they just had no real counter punch, and they tend to go away from things that are working for them. And I'm sure Zion was exhausted from just driving in the paint all night long, but the game was definitely winnable. And I think that game on Thursday against Utah was winnable. And so there's not a lot of times that they've gotten just completely blown out, but they've got to figure out how to close these games.
Yeah, I think it was one of those that they were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And so when in the NBA, you see it. Teams get way too comfortable with that big of a lead, and they just go away from everything because they're like, yeah, we can mess around a little bit. We can kind of free for all a little bit. What's going to happen? Yeah, we might miss a couple of possessions, but hey, it's a 24-point lead, but it can change so fast. I feel like that's what people miss.
Yep.
And they should know that. I mean, they're professionals, but like these leads, there's nothing safe about a 20-point lead in the NBA. We've seen so many 20-point comebacks. We've seen it. Pelicans blown 20-point comebacks. We've seen them come back from 20-point comebacks. I remember, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, the Boston Celtics were in town. They came back from down 20-something points. They were down to Cleveland, the game that Ricky Rubio went down and eventually tore his ACL. They were down big in that game.
That game was
during a COVID stretch. I was filling in for Todd because it seemed like half our broadcasting crew was out. And that was a game that they were down by a wide margin and were able to come back. So these things happen. And I think the good thing is you're learning in this process of going through this stuff as far as how to not go through this again when you have that big of a lead. But it's got to fall on everyone. It's got to fall on the coaching staff, the players, the execution as far as the game plan down the stretch. And again, this is no calling out Willie Green. It's just, again, it's an overall team loss when you blow a 24-point lead. It's just, again, you get too comfortable, and this team can't afford to get too comfortable because these are wins that you need to have. Western Conference wins, more importantly, because that's where tiebreakers come down if other tiebreakers can't be figured out. So Western Conference record counts more than if you're losing these teams to teams in the East. So yeah, pretty frustrating what happened on Saturday.
Yeah. And speaking of teams in the East, I think Giannis was day-to-day initially, and now he's completely off the report. Chris Middleton's out, but of course
that's it. And Joe Ingles back.
Returns.
He's gonna drain 6 threes tonight. Man, you know it.
His first game as a Buck. He's ready. Oh my gosh!
Is there a scientific formula that trainers use to say if we can get them back for the Pelicans game, let's do that? Like, do they circle? All right, when do we play the Pelicans? Okay, it's December 19th. Let's figure out Joe Ingles' training so that he gets back for that game. It's just every team seems to get their guy back just for our game.
Gosh. I don't know what it is. It's the weirdest thing. And I'm sure I've seen a lot of other fan bases say these things. Like everyone thinks that it happens to them, but I, of course, feel like it happens a little bit more to us.
Right.
I don't know what it is. But on the bright side of things, you know, we like to break the season down 10 games at a time.
Yeah.
So first 10 games, we went 5-5. Games 11 through 20, we went 7-3. And now games 21 through 29, we're at 6-3. So tonight, no matter what happens, we still will finish these stretch of 10 games 500 or better, which is really, really all I'm looking for. You know, it's not a lot of times you're going to see a team go from winning 34 or so games to winning 50 just over one off season. So they're trending in the right direction. Just keep on going on a couple, 7-game win streaks. But a 3-game losing streak, which could potentially turn into 4 against one of the top teams in the East, makes you nervous a little bit, but What can I do? I'm just there to watch.
Yeah, but I think this is a perfect game for them to rebound just because one, they need a rebound tonight. I'm using that both ways, but
Yeah.
it's a good team to kind of get you back in the groove. Like, yeah, get some confidence back. I know it's gonna be a tough battle between the Bucks and the Pelicans, but I
Mhm.
mean, it's something that you can be like, all right, we're facing a good team. We've lost 3 in a row. And like you said, going 7-3 in your last 10, despite what happened on the road, because of their 7 game winning streak before, is pretty impressive. I mean, you
Mhm.
take 7-3, every team would take 7-3 every 10 game spurt
Yeah.
because that means you're going to finish the season with a really good record and have a really good seed in the playoffs. So
Right.
I think the Larry Nance injury, though, for tonight is going to be interesting to see what Willie Green does because what's
Yeah.
interesting about this matchup for the bigs is Brooke Lopez. Brooke does
Mhm.
not like to sit inside. He's not your traditional center. He's
No.
going to bring the center out. And so if it's Jonas Valanciunas, you already talk about lack of rebounding. If you
Mhm.
have to bring Jonas out to guard Brooke, then that's just going to leave more rebounding inside. And with Giannis, Giannis is
Yeah.
going to go to town as far as rebounding. So Larry was a good opportunity because Larry could guard and sit behind the 3 point line and guard Brooke
Mhm.
Lopez. And now that he's out, who's going to be that guy? But I guarantee you there's going to be someone else other than Jonas being guarded by Brooke. I think
Mhm.
you have to, that's obviously one of the guys you have to worry about. But
Yeah.
Brooke doesn't get a lot of rebounds. Brooke sits behind three as much, and he's a good 3 point shooter. So you have to stay near him and contest. But he's such a threat from outside too, as a big man, that you can't just like let him go. And also bringing a big man out there, Jonas doesn't want to sit by the
Yeah,
perimeter all
no.
night.
No
So it's
way.
gonna be interesting how Willie Green figures out what to do with Brooke with Larry being out.
Yeah. I think the the Billy Hive will get some Billy minutes tonight. I mean, he tends to show up big against the some of the more elite bigs in the league. Um I feel like he could do well against Brooke. I don't know how well he could do against Giannis specifically, but I guess we'll just have to
Don't
find out, man. Just make it through the night, get out of there without getting any extra injuries. And if you get a win, that's even better. But yeah, we really could have used Nance tonight, but if he was gonna have another performance like Saturday, then whatever.
these
But it
are
happens.
Is there really anyone that can guard Giannis though? When you talk about Billy,
Nah,
I don't think he can, but there's not a lot of people. I mean, Zion versus
yeah.
Giannis is gonna be so fun. You have two of the top points in the paint players per game. I
Hmm.
mean, I think I saw Christian Clark this morning tweeted that he is number one in the league, Zion, right now in points in the paint per game. I'm not sure if that's a stretch of games or if that's for the whole season, but him and
Oh,
Giannis
okay.
are up there. I'll have to go look at it again. Um, but it's certainly been impressive to see what Zion's been able to do, and those two battling in and out. I mean, that's gonna be fun to watch. That's gonna be must see TV tonight.
Yeah. I think as far as points in the paint go, there's a couple of guards like Shea Gilgeous Alexander and John Morant. They get a
John Morant's
ton
the
of
big
points
one.
in the
Yep.
paint. And that John Morant ejection over the weekend
Yes.
was a sight to see. That was the weirdest thing. And I think they said he was telling the fan something about him not getting specific calls. And so I guess when the referee overheard that, they were like,
Yeah.
nah, you got to get out of here. And I think he
Yeah.
already had a technical at the
He did.
time. So,
He was talking
ooh.
trash to the refs with fans, or about the refs with fans. And yeah, if you're a ref that's overhearing it, be like, hey, that guy sucks over there. That referee right
Yeah.
there. If he hears that, what do you expect? I mean,
Not standing for it.
I still think it was a little weak, in my
It
opinion, as
was.
far as ejecting him in that situation. One, it maybe was the best because they were already getting blown out anyways by Oklahoma City. Maybe give Ja a little bit of a rest that night because things
Mhm.
just did not go well for him.
Yeah.
Um, but when you're someone like me who puts bets on his points over for that game, you really get disappointed when he doesn't finish the game. So I'm just gonna leave that out there. But yeah,
Did you
it
have
was
you had one on that game?
yeah. I had Ja. I had Ja. I think it was his points, rebounds, and assist. The
Dang.
over. I had the over. I didn't know he was gonna get
Uh,
ejected.
in the first half.
Things weren't looking good for him, but at least knowing that
Yeah.
anything can flip the switch in the second half, I was like, all right, well,
Right.
that's just not gonna hit. So I was
Ooh.
more frustrated with that. I was upset at that ref just because it cost me some money, but nonetheless,
It
that was
happens.
weird this weekend. Break up the Orlando Magic over the weekend, who have won 6 in a row and took two in TD Garden in Boston. And Eddie House, who won a ring with the Celtics, is talking mad trash to the Orlando Magic, showing
Speaking of
off his
bets,
rings. It's like, man, you
yeah.
gotta chill out.
Call me when you got some of these, right? Yeah, man, whatever. And someone said, that's when you won the argument. When they start talking about rings, it's like, all right, man, we're talking about right here, right now. And you're talking about like 10, 12 years ago.
You were the ninth man on that team, 10th man on that team. You talking about your reason why Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, you can flash those rings and be like, yeah, what now? But Eddie House doing that?
Oh my gosh.
That's like if the Pelicans ever won a ring and I got one, that's like me flashing it and going, yeah, look at that. I got a ring and you don't. Well, yeah, I just announced the game. So what are you gonna do?
Speaking of yeah, betting and things like that, they the Celtics totally blew my parlay. That was like the first leg of the day on my parlay. They totally blew it. Let's talk about Bet Online. You want to tell the listeners about Bet Online?
Yeah, sure. That's a great idea, bro. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first to market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today. Use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet and help us. We can help you. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 BLEAV 50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Maybe we do have to get into maybe our picks for the day or some action here. And we thank Betting Online for being a presenting sponsor for our show here and numerous shows around the Believe Network. But we both just talked about how we lost our bets over the weekend, so maybe we're not.
You
maybe
win
we shouldn't be giving that advice, but
I'm not going to give any advice. I'm just going to say I'm taking the over on everything for Giannis because he's that guy.
Is there anyone for the Pelicans you're taking over?
Probably Zion. He's been very, very consistent. And even in those games that we were losing, I mean, he's still getting like 30 points a night. So Zion would be, my pick for the over for whatever the line is.
Speaking of lines, I don't think the Lakers are going to be favored in as many games in the next month or so. We have not discussed our old friend Anthony Davis being out with a foot injury.
Did you see it?
Rough.
I saw the replay. Okay, it doesn't make sense. I can see how it would be hurt, but I can't see how it would be hurt for a month. It happened midair, and he kind of just like his leg hit. I think they were playing Denver. I think it hit Jokic's leg.
Yeah,
and somehow he sprained it midair. But then, of course, I had to go listen to the Lakers Spaces on Twitter. Now that Spaces is back after a full business day hiatus.
Oh, that's another thing. I can. Never mind. Go ahead, bro.
I know. I went in there, went to go listen to that, and I saw up on the Jumbotron, as they call it, someone had a picture of, and I think it was taken by the team. It had like Laker branding on the picture, like the watermark that they use. It was a picture of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and they're running. It looks like they're playing football. They're both running to they're doing the wide receiver thing. And the caption said, if I was the franchise or the player and I got hurt playing football on my day off, I would really hate if anybody found this out. And I was like, is this the new conspiracy? Is this the rumor? This is how he hurt himself worse than what happened in the game? If so, that really sucks. But either way, he has been playing like some very, very dominant basketball in this last, 2 or so weeks. It sucks that they're not going to have him, but they pulled out a win last night in a close game against the Wizards.
Yeah, the Wizards stink though. Thanks for nothing, Washington. And look, I was going to say this: we're not rooting for Anthony Davis to get hurt. We don't want any player to get hurt.
Correct.
We want the Lakers to lose, but we don't want people to get hurt.
It's even better if they lose healthy. It's even funnier.
It is even funnier. We want them to lose at full strength, not lose. Yeah. But they're winning. Well, they won a game without Anthony Davis, but we'll see. Yeah. That was certainly an interesting thing that happened over the weekend as well. Just lots of storylines around the NBA. Was it Jokic? He had 27 rebounds last night.
He had 20 just in the first half.
Yeah,
that was insane.
I think he had 49 points, 27 rebounds. Was he playing? Someone was playing 2K with him or something.
He was getting Wilt records. And someone said if there's anybody who leads the league in doing things that no one has done since Wilt did them, it's Jokic. And I was like, I could see that.
Yeah, he's incredible. Definitely making his case again for another MVP consideration. Speaking of MVP consideration, before we get out of here, where do you have Zion right now? And again, we're asking after a 3-game losing streak, but top 10, top 5, in between 5 and 10?
Top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people look at like points specifically, and I think there's still a decent amount of guys that are averaging more than him. In that top 10, there's at least, yeah, I think there's actually like 8 or so guys. I don't know. That's what I heard on the internet. I didn't look it up. It couldn't be true. Who even knows?
Everything on
But
the internet's true, Rel. Just think about that.
so there was something I found out over the weekend that I didn't even find out on the internet. This came directly to my line, and this doesn't have anything to do with like Zion or anything. But
The way to change the subject,
there's
just Rel Wojnarowski here joining us on Pels and Whistles.
why would they do, I'm gonna be Windhorse, right? Why would
Yeah.
they do that? A friend of mine happens to work for a moving company and happens to know where a particular Pelicans player lives and saw a truck of that moving company outside of this guy's house. So he calls me and I'm like, tell me more, right? So this is probably like, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And, we don't find out too much that night. But the next morning, of course, he goes into work. So he decides he wants to do a little bit of investigating. I won't tell you how deep the investigation goes, but we're able to find out who rented the truck, who's supposed to be driving the truck. And it was just the funniest thing, because now I'm on Instagram and I'm looking through different people and family members and looking at who's this and who's that and who's got the truck and all this stuff. And it was so funny. But I've chosen not to go on the Twitter space and say who it is, because if they don't leave, then I'm just gonna look like a dunce, right? I'm not gonna look very intelligent. I'd rather be right in secret than be wrong in public. So I just thought that it was interesting that there could be some movement soon and not wait till February, but we'll see what happens. Could be a family member moving out. Who knows?
I was about to say, it's such an odd situation. One, I mean, crazy that the coincidence that this guy works for that moving company, found the info, and here you go.
Nuts.
But when you haven't heard any roster movement yet, it's kind of hard to pick a place to go without knowing if that's the team that you're going to go to or that area.
Yeah,
it could have nothing to do with it. Could have everything to do with it.
Yeah, we're looking at where's the truck going to end up? Oh, it's scheduled to end up in New Jersey. Okay, well, why would you move to New Jersey unless you're going to play in Brooklyn, or maybe go play in Madison Square Garden for the Knicks, or you're an hour and a half away from Philly. I don't know. So it was, we were bored and we had a lot of fun with the different scenarios that could come up. But yeah, ultimately we'll see what the front office decides to do.
Well, Rel is on the case, and so she will continue to do some digging and update us on where in the world is this certain player or their family or the dog. I don't know where, but
Yeah.
Is the U-Haul left the building? Is the U-Haul on its way?
They had the U-Haul rented for 5 days, I think. So I think at this point it's been 2 days. It should be gone by now, especially if they're driving. But then again, why would you be driving? Why wouldn't they get like a big 18-wheeler to like move that sucker out? I don't know.
You're asking way too many questions.
Yeah. Right? The more I'm asking, the less sense it's making.
You are going to do the wind horse with the fingers and trying to map it around. You're going to get some thumbtacks with some string, get a bulletin board.
Hey, man.
Start linking some things together. That's going to be your backdrop. You're going to remove that Pelicans picture behind you and start putting that bulletin board of where in the world is this player? Who's still with the team, by the way.
Blue screen back there. Yeah, and that was another thing. Someone's like, well, are they on the road trip with the team? Yeah, everybody's there. Everybody's there. Nothing's, poking out in the team pictures after shoot around or anything like that. Everyone's present. So could be nothing, could secretly be something. We'll see what happens.
If you or a family member need a private investigator, please reach out to Rel Myers on Twitter or right here on Pels and Whistles. Rel's on the case. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Get the popcorn ready. Or maybe not.
Tuned.
or maybe not.
All for popcorn ready for tonight. Get it ready for tonight. Bucks.
Maybe it's just a really expensive Christmas gift that just needs to be moved.
Maybe.
Like a statue or a porcelain dog. I don't know.
A porcelain dog.
I don't know, like the one Joey had from Friends that he just glided. Geez. Maybe he needs to move that.
I've got some tweets about Friends, man. Not a fan. But we won't even get into that.
Not a fan. All right. There's so much we need to discuss on Pels and Whistles. Well, we are going to have another Pels and Whistles before the weekends, and then we'll take the weekend off for the holidays, come back. You know what next week we got to do, and maybe we should get the fans involved. New Year's resolutions for the New Orleans Pelicans.
I love it. That's a great idea.
So next week, submit your tweets to Rel on Twitter. Rel, how can folks follow you?
At my name is Rel _. Or you can follow, you can go ahead and subscribe to Pels and Whistles on YouTube. Leave some in the comments. Every now and then we might get 1 comment or 2 comments. It's time to start filling those suckers up. And while you're on there, definitely hit the like button too. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Do all that
Climbing
good
up the
stuff.
charts.
Yeah.
We're like Mariah Carey during Christmas. We're all I want for Christmas is you right now. Nonstop being played.
All I want for Christmas is Brandon Ingram. That's it.
Me too. Me too. So the week that is for the Pelicans, it is the Bucks tonight. It is the Spurs on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Friday. Pacers Sunday.
Monday.
Pacers Monday. Get the whole week.
Monday.
Oh yeah, because of Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, over the next couple of days, maybe Thursday or Friday, we'll go over how the week has gone for the Pelicans. We'll look forward to the holidays. I did find, I was unpacking. Speaking of, it was not my U-Haul, by the way, that went to New Jersey. It went to Atlanta. But I found my Pelicans Christmas hat.
Okay, there we go.
I have not found the light up sweater yet. Maybe that can bust it in the box, but I need to find it. So it's got to be right near there. I don't know where it went, but maybe we should rock our Christmas finest for our next edition of Pels and Whistles.
Oh yeah, I wore my Christmas sweater last time, but I'm not afraid to wear it again. It's my favorite, one of my favorite pieces of merch, and it's my only Christmas Pelicans merch besides the the hat that they gave away from like Tax Act or something like that. So I will definitely wear that sucker again on the next episode.
It'll have to be our version of a Christmas party because we don't have a company party. Believe Network, we did. Everyone's remote, so there's no Christmas party. So if we have to if the eggnog has to be flowing, I don't even like eggnog, but if that has to flow during one of these, maybe a happy hour pot, that's probably not a good idea for us.
No, that's a terrible idea, but eggnog is a great idea. I'm sorry you don't like it, but that's more for me.
I'll share it through. I'll pour some out for you. You hold your cup out. By the way, I do have some homework for you. Before either next week or our next episode, I want to play Who's That Bird? I need some more action here.
You need more? Okay.
I'm undefeated. Right. I have not lost in that game.
Someone actually made a really good point. When we're playing it on YouTube, it totally makes sense for the people who are watching, but for people who are listening, they're kind of just silently waiting for us to.
I know.
So they're like, maybe you can add in some stats. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So I got to be a little bit more prepared for the audio version.
You could say like this guy played in, 2012 on a 10-day contract. This guy
jersey numbers.
Yeah. He spent time with 8 different teams in 8 different seasons. I don't know. There's players like that.
Yes, there's definitely something for me to figure out there so I can get the listeners more involved. But as far as the viewers, like I said, hit those comments, man. Tell us your resolutions and stuff.
My resolution too, get some more guests on here. We need to get some guests on here.
Yeah. We've been trying. For those of us who are like, you always say that, we've been trying. Schedules are a weird thing. It's hard to, get it's 2 of us and we kind of got our thing going, but once you enter someone else into the mix, it gets a little bit more difficult.
We did reach out for some representatives from the Phoenix Suns here on the Believe Network, and we were not able to work that out. That's not calling anyone out, just schedules conflicted, and we weren't able to, but we did make an effort to do some rivalry talk on Pels and Whistles. So maybe
there's been a little bit of banter with me and Dana Scott on there, but I went ahead and gave him a follow. I think we're friends now.
Everyone's cool?
Everyone's cool. Even though, when Believe posted my clip and they said I was firing shots and stuff, I was like, ooh, this is messy.
Man,
like,
they were.
Said what I said.
I saw that. I was like, ooh, sheesh, they're starting to cause some drama.
It was great. And so Dana's like posting the Spider-Man meme and he's like, they started it first. And I'm like, okay, man, whatever. Yeah. I'll let you have it. Whatever. All in good fun.
All in good fun. We had a lot of fun today. Thank you all for listening. Get your Christmas shopping done. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Happy Kwanzaa. We'll have it. I'll wish everyone the same thing on our next one, but get that shopping done. Yeah. Hope you all have a great week. Looking forward to the holidays over the weekend. Hopefully the Pels can get a win back home against the Bucks tonight, and we'll recap it for you at the end of the week. Again, big thanks to Bet Online, our presenting sponsor, and to Rel as always. I'm Daniel Salerson. Thanks for listening to Pels and Whistles right here on the Believe Network.